Hello everybody, it's Stacia again, and this is going to be Christmas movie number 16 of my 25 Christmas movies of the season extravaganza. I do not know if I'll make it to 25. I am not on track to make it to 25 because I keep having to take days off from doing this because it's just too much. But we'll see how far I can get. But we're on movie number 16, and if you're new here, I'm Stacia. I like to watch movies and post my thoughts about them on YouTube, and I would love you to subscribe and become a part of this growing community. That would be lovely. So today we are going for a remake. This is going to be a remake of the 1947 classic Miracle on 34th Street. And it's not the remake that you're probably thinking of. I am talking about the 1973 remake of Miracle on 34th Street. It was a CBS television movie that premiered December 12th-ish, 1973 on CBS, and it stars Sebastian Cabot as Santa Claus. Or should I say Sebastian Cabot as Kris Kringle. Sebastian Cabot is probably best known for playing Mr. French in the 1960s sitcom Family Affair. This also stars Jane Alexander as Karen Walker. She has been in a lot of things, character actress that's been in a lot of things. She was nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for 1979's Kramer versus Kramer, where she played the friend of the divorcing couple. But like I said, she has been in a lot of things, from The Cider House Rules to All the President's Men to The Ring. She was in that. You see her pop up in so many different things that she's one where you look at it and go, wait a minute, I know her from something. We have David Hartman playing Bill, who is basically a TV actor from back in the day. He was familiar to 60s and 70s audiences, so he plays the love interest or the neighbor, whatever you'd like to call him. There are a bunch of appearances of actors that would be familiar for the time. You have Jim Backus in this, who was the millionaire in Gilligan's Island. You have Tom Bosley in that from Happy Days. There's Roddy McDowall from his various movie and TV roles from old and new. If you're of a certain age, these will be very familiar people to you, and when you see them, you'll go, oh! And the appearance of David Doyle in this, he plays Mr. Macy, is noted because he actually played Dr. Sawyer in a Broadway version of Miracle on 34th Street. And going back to Sebastian Cabot, besides Family Affair, Disney fans will note that he did a lot of voices for famous Disney films. He was Bagheera the Panther in The Jungle Book, Sir Ector in The Sword and the Stone, and if you like the movie The Time Machine from 1960, he is Dr. Philip Hillier from that movie. He is a very familiar face. I always liked him when I was a little kid. When I watched this when I was a kid, it was for Sebastian Cabot. And Sebastian Cabot was a narrator in a lot of Disney films and short films and everything like that. So, like I said, Disney fans are probably very familiar with at least the voice of Sebastian Cabot. When this movie was first being produced, they did go to Natalie Wood and Robert Wagner at the time, who were of course a couple, and offered the movie to them for Natalie Wood to play Karen Walker and Robert Wagner, of course, to play Bill, but they turned it down. There was even some talk about, I've heard a rumor, I don't know how true this is because she would have been extremely young at the time. I'm talking maybe 3 years old at the time, that Natasha Gregson Wagner was considered for the role as Susan, but I do find that hard to believe because of how young she would have been at the time. But I also heard a rumor that one of the frontrunners for the role was Melissa Gilbert. She was a big fan of the original movie. She really wanted to play Susan Walker. She did lose out, and an unknown in Susan Davidson was cast in the role. The beginning of this movie goes with a very showy start, a very Broadway type of start. Maybe that's fitting with the New York City setting. It's not a musical number, but the music that plays in it, called Miracles, is a very show-tuney type of song. This movie still uses Macy's as the department store. Macy's did sign off on letting them use them and the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade for this movie also, so that ties it back to the past. It's a very much a basically word for word remake of the original movie. What it does have going for it that makes it different, I love Sebastian Cabot as Kris Kringle. I mean, he's not as good as Edmund Gwenn, but there's such a nostalgia for Sebastian Cabot with me that I just remember watching this as a little kid, and he was Santa Claus to me. And the other thing it has going for it is shot on location in New York City. They use the streets of New York City and locations of New York City very well in this movie. Besides just it being the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, it's the actual Macy's department store. It is the actual streets of New York City. You'll see the Rockefeller Christmas tree. All of the New York Christmas things from the 70s are here in this movie, and they're the actual locations. So this version of Miracle is not an easy movie to find. They don't show it on TV anymore. It's hard to get on DVD. It doesn't stream anywhere. I actually found it on YouTube to watch it because I hadn't watched it since I was a little kid. My basic thing is I'll think you would enjoy this if you're like me. If you are of my generation, and that is the generation of X, this will be a very nostalgic version of this movie for you. Besides, the original, which is nostalgic for us because we grew up watching that with our parents, because that was the version of this from their group. And yes, the Natalie Wood version, Edmund Gwenn version is loads better than this one. But I still love this one for the nostalgia factor, for Sebastian Cabot, it's a grittier, really more reality-based one also that I kind of like. So if you can find it, and like I said, it was streaming on YouTube, and that's how I watched it again. And I hadn't seen this since I was a little kid, but I watched it. I accept its flaws, but I love it as it's just a straight remake of the original with a little bit grittier New York feel and a very 1973 look to it. But I highly encourage you to stick it out, to watch it. Tell me what you think about it. Leave a comment down below. And again, my name is Stacia. I would love you to subscribe to this channel and get on in the conversation about movies. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.